But then the what is Maple doing? What are you doing? Maple, sleep. Thank you. So awesome. This video is brought to you by all my Patreon supporters. Go Team Awesome! Yokoso peeps, it's Oz, and today I'm going to tell you about the movie The White Tiger from Netflix. This is actually a request I got on one of my videos. Jay Nedark asked, as you briefly mentioned in India and your background, I would love if you could review the Netflix film The White Tiger. So I had made a video about being short in Japan, and I had mentioned that my background is Indian. And it just so happened that at the same time that comment came in, I was actually halfway through the movie on Netflix. It's as if he or she knew that I was in the middle of watching the movie and was kind of stalking me or watching me. Anyway, here's my thoughts and my review on the movie. And the movie is based on a book by Aravind Adiga. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a Netflix original film and it was released in February of this year. It's directed by Ramin Barani and stars Adarsh Gurav, Rajkumar Rao, and Priyanka Chopra Jones. Before I get into my review, have you subscribed to my newsletter? I send it out once a month and it includes links for videos not available on YouTube, links to stories about the darker side of Japan, and other things like the question of the month. Like I said, it's free, and if you're interested, the link is in the information section below. So let's get to the movie The White Tiger. First, a quick summary. No spoilers. The story takes place in India. The main character, named Balram, is telling the story about how he became a rich entrepreneur despite being from a low caste in a poor town. The story flashes back and forth from his childhood, his family, his job as a driver, and his eventual friendship with the man he drives. But through meeting Balram, having certain bad events happen to them, and the influence of the rich family they must please, things start going downhill. Before I get into my actual thoughts, I just want to tell you a little bit about my background so you know where I'm coming from. As I mentioned before, my background is Indian. Both my parents were born and kind of grew up in India, but they left when they were young. My father left India when he was a teenager and he went to America. My mother also came to America in her teens and she met my dad and they ended up dating and getting married. And I've only been to India once for like 3 weeks. I have relatives in India, Pakistan, Europe, and Australia and other parts of the world. And a lot of cousins from India and Pakistan would visit me when I was young. But other than that, all the information I have about India comes from news or movies or Bollywood and stuff like that. I also don't know much about the caste system because I'm not a Hindu and neither are my parents. Although I'm brown, I would be what people call whitewash brown, or what I like to call coconut. Brown on the outside, white on the inside. That being said, I do have tons of uncles and cousins that are very similar to Balram. They had the same shady things happen to them, the same kind of illegal scamming kind of stuff that Balram has to do in the movie. I even had a cousin who illegally went into America and was deported. So now that you know where I'm coming from, let me tell you the things I did like about the movie. Well, not all actors. I like the actors that aren't very popular in India. I think the main character who plays Balram was the perfect choice. I thought his look, his face, his facial expressions, just this whole attitude as skinny, lanky brown guy, it was just exactly what the character was of Balram. He was a kind of dirty, he had bad teeth, bad hair, but for some reason he had a lot of personality and a lot of charm about him. I could really feel his emotions, so when he was happy, I felt happy. When he was distraught or sad, I could feel the same. He also had a really good sense of humor, and it really reminded me of a lot of my cousins. And I like the writing for Balram. A lot of the stuff he says, especially his voiceover narration, is really good. And speaking of the actors, the rich father, the corrupt rich father of Ashok, and also his brother, they call him Mongoose, both of them were really good at being evil. They were both very calm but very cruel. And this one character who was like a servant who always kind of like berated Balram, he had like this weird skin disease. He was really funny and he was like perfect for comedic relief. The first half of the movie was genius. I liked how he went from a small town as a child and working at a chai shop, I guess, to becoming a driver for a really rich family. Also, his relationship with his father, his grandmother, his brother, his family in general, it was a good connection to see why he had to do the things he did. And one of the ultimate best things about this movie was when in the story he compares the people, the servants of India, to chickens in a chicken coop. If you watch the movie, definitely that is like I feel like the main message of this movie. It's really great. It's like when I watched Matrix and Morpheus was explaining the construct of the Matrix and how it just blew my mind how all the humans were being used as fuel. It was kind of a similar comparison to like that, and it was really amazing. And also how he went from a nice servant for that driver to becoming what he did in the end, and then like a successful entrepreneur. That was also a very interesting shift as well. I thought it would be a very predictable ending, but it was actually pretty shocking. The writing was really good, especially like I said, the inner monologue, the narration for Balram is very intellectual and very poetic, but it's still realistic because it's coming from a servant from a low class who doesn't have a lot of education. And the characters, like I said, were written really well. The way the bad father and the brother Mongoose, how they both are very conniving and very evil and cruel. I liked how they presented it. It wasn't very over the top. And of course the visuals were really good. I liked how they showed the big contrast between like the poor streets of Delhi compared to the really rich areas of Delhi. The fancy hotels and the office buildings and just the really nice parks compared to like the really small street markets and like the servants living in underground and all the poor conditions like that. It was almost like how in Parasite, where they purposely made rich people on higher ground and poor people live in like the sub-basement kind of apartment things. It was similar to that, where all the servants are living in the car garage area and all the rich people live above. Okay, so now let's get to the things I didn't like about this movie. The over-the-top kind of like fake, kind of almost Bollywoodish kind of acting from Pinky and Ashok. I think they were trying to be overly westernized and overly woke, so it kind of came off as kind of cringy. Especially Ashok, when he's angry or sad or depressed or drunk, he kind of overacts and makes it look, like I said, cringy. Looking at Balram, even though he's not a popular or famous actor, you can definitely tell he definitely had much more realistic and authentic acting skills. For example, one of the lines in the beginning of the movie that Balram says is this: "In the belief that the future of the world lies with the yellow man and the brown man, now that our erstwhile master, the white-skinned man, has wasted himself through buggery, cell phone usage, and drug abuse." And then at the end of the movie, he reiterates and says, "White people are on their way out, you know. They'll be finished within our lifetime. It's the century of the brown man and the yellow man, and God save everybody else." And I thought that was really weird, because he was talking about how white people are kind of screwing themselves over with cell phone usage and buggery and drug abuse, but I feel like India is just the same. I think Indians are just as obsessed with smartphones and like IT and new social media technology. And I'm sure alcoholism and drugs is also very prevalent in Indian society. And about the white people being on their way out, I thought it was kind of weird, because he works in Bangalore in the Indian Silicon Valley, which basically has all the companies from Europe and America. So how could they be on their way out when all the companies in India that are doing successfully well are actually owned by white people? If anything, they're on their way in. They're taking over the Indian market as well. And I get that India is an IT, it's a booming market for IT and stuff, but yes, the workers are IT, but the owners still seem to be white. So I thought that was kind of weird. And also, why in the movie was Ashok and Pinky, the two people who had been to America, the only people that were kind of woke and like knew the problems of Indian society? I felt they were kind of saying that because we've witnessed the white world, the land of the white, we know more about your own country than you do, and so kind of condescendingly looking down on Indian people. The length was okay, but the time it took to get to, I guess, the climax of the movie took too long. It took a long time to build up to the climax, and then instead of once it hit the climax going down like this, it kind of went drop like this, and it just kind of ended. Balram just basically said, I did this, this happened, and this happened. Yay, bye. It's not like they left the story hanging like some movies where it's like a Inception or something, you don't know what happens at the end. They actually explain what happens at the end. It just quickly explain it and not really show it much, and then just kind of end it really quickly. It's like they ran out of money for the budget for the movie, and they just said, okay, let's wrap it up, we're done. But what I did like about the movie was right from the beginning of the movie, in the middle, and the end, the theme or the main message of the movie actually shone through all the way to the end, and it actually proved that Balram was the white tiger. Overall, I think this movie is really awesome. It poked fun at religion, democracy, politics, social class, gender relations, and poverty. It kind of covered all the social issues that are happening in India and around the world. It was also funny, entertaining, sad, and angering at times. You kind of love and hate Balram at the same time. Sometimes I related to him, other times I was like so confused why he did the things he did. But I think that was the point. If I had to rate this movie, I would probably give it 4.5 stars out of 5. It's definitely worth a watch. Anyway, that's my review. Have you seen this movie? What did you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, to support my channel, you can 1. Subscribe, 2. Thumbs up, 3. Leave a comment, 4. Subscribe to my newsletter, and 5. Support me on Patreon. For as little as $1, you can get videos not available on YouTube. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any video requests, you can also leave it in the comment section below. Take care and see you next time. Peace. You killed the bird, Maple. You killed the bird. You killed the angry bird. Hidoe. And now you're gonna eat it, so you're a cannibal.